Ladies and gentlemen, coming in at the number 5 spot, we have Brennan Costello. Brennan Costello, the most divisive team possibly in league history. A team that has secured the number 1 seed with an 11th out of 14 scoring ranking on the season. One of the most statistically incredible things that I've seen maybe ever, including, I believe, a 7 or 8 game win streak to start the season. If Herbert was healthy, this team would be the 6th ranked team coming into the playoffs. I have to be honest with you. Not much to look at when it comes to the roster. With all due respect, this is probably the worst team that has ever gotten a bye in our league's history. This team, from start to finish, just never really popped or seemed to impress, but you just kept chugging along and ended up in this first place spot. You only have 2 games to win, so that gives you a huge advantage, even though your team just doesn't have the talent, basically, of any of the other teams, barring, of course, the fact that you have a real quarterback. When you look at your best pick of the year, clearly this was Mike Evans. A lot of people doubting Mike this year, including me. Baker Mayfield at quarterback could have been one of the worst passing offenses easily in the NFL this year coming into the year. And a lot of people were on that train. And all Mike Evans has done is manage a top 10 fantasy season. This may just be my opinion. I think Mike Evans is one of the most remarkable players I've ever seen. He is so consistent, so good, and has some of the craziest games you'll ever see a wide receiver have. A marvelous player indeed. Your worst pick, of course, it has to be Garrett Wilson at 21st overall. Now, this is really no fault of your own. You think you're going to get Aaron Rodgers. You don't. You get Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian experience, which has been brutal to watch. Has been brutal for you to watch. Garrett Wilson, almost an unplayable player at this point. You're worried he's going to put less than 5 fantasy points up on the board. That's just simply not something you think you're going to have to deal with a 21st overall player. So that has to be your worst pick of the season. As far as your outlook goes, one of the biggest key pieces that's going to affect you is Isaiah Pacheco going to be healthy next week when you play your matchup? If Pacheco is not healthy, I just feel like you've got no shot. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco has been a key force for your team this season. So I really feel like that's going to be the case. Thielen, that love affair that was early on in the season, that is basically over now. He can't do anything. Overall, you just look like you need a lot to go right here if you are going to prove the haters wrong. You also had some injuries. Joe Burrow being out kind of hurts you. You know, I'm sure you're expecting an elite top-tier fantasy season from Burrow. I think a lot of us were expecting that. A lot of us were high on the Bengals this year. There's been one team that has kind of disappointed in a lot of ways. But overall, this team probably shouldn't be in the playoffs, but you're here, so you might as well make the most of it, baby. That being said, we're going to move on into the top 4 coming up right now.